Episode 4 of Willow takes this whole show to a new level of terrible. It is an episode where at the start our group of not very interesting adventurers enters Nockmaar. Then they have many heart-to-heart conversations that will change nothing and will serve no particular purpose. And then at the end of the episode they will all leave the castle and nothing will have changed. Basically, if you would just eliminate this entire episode altogether, the plot can continue with almost no disturbance. I guess the intention of the writers here was to focus on internal transformations of each of the individual characters in the group, but what they achieved instead was a level of cringe and nonsense many thought impossible. So the episode starts and our group hides in this cursed castle that used to belong to an evil Bavmorda, grandmother of Kit.
This fortress was the stronghold of the most brutal tyrant of her age, Bavmorda.
Yeah, or as Kit calls her, Grandma.
They are given one rule by Willow: do not enter the high tower.
There's one thing even more important than that. No matter what, stay out of the high tower. It's probably a portal to the netherworld.
So you know they will all end up in the high tower. Meanwhile, Kit clearly takes after her grandmother because she is so motivated to kill her fiancé, Prince Graydon.
I mean, we all know it has to be done.
And she seems really pressing everybody and trying to ensure that at least one of them will take on the responsibility of killing him.
And if I have to decide between saving Eric and waiting for Graydon to turn into some kind of monster...
Hey, you should put that in your wedding vows.
Luckily or not, Elora saves Graydon by begging Willow to use his special magical powers to heal the prince.
Please. You're the greatest sorcerer alive. You obliterated Bavmorda. I mean, there must be something you can do.
And what a coincidence, all the basic ingredients and a book with magical spells just fit for that purpose happens to lay around the castle. The most ridiculous and absurd, nonsensical dialogue of all time plays in front of our eyes. We see Graydon's body is badly scarred and he explains when he was a child he was sick with some sort of disease and it's shameful and he's not supposed to talk about it. He doesn't really know what it was either, but it was just bad and that's the end of the story.
Is that part of...
No. I was sick when I was a kid.
With what?
I don't know exactly. Just something bad. I'm not supposed to talk about it. It's shameful.
Elora, being the savior of the universe, reassures him that it's not shameful and that it just shows his resilience, and with tears in her eyes she promises to fix him. How sweet.
Just means you're resilient is all. We're gonna fix you right up. But this might hurt a little.
Yet, a few moments later, she is really happy to leave him die suffering when Willow performs a spell and then refuses to immediately answer Elora's questions about what happened to his village. She just walks off and leaves Graydon to die.
What does that mean?
Focus!
Is there something that you're not telling me?
Meet at who? It doesn't matter!
What happened to your village?
Listen, if you can't be of any use, leave! Now, go!
Because when they wrote her character, they forgot to check her actions against her supposed motivations. Instead, they just did this box-ticking exercise and based on that delivered this very excuse of an episode. As this is all happening, everybody's sent on little quests to find missing ingredients and they are searching around the castle.
I found everything except for essence of nightshade.
We can't leave out ingredients. Mix it wrong, we could blow up the whole castle.
Of course, Kit hates every moment of it and complains about it at every possible step.
Can you just go and check if they have any?
You think that's something people just have in their cupboards?
Oh, this is pointless. Graydon is going to be possessed anyway and then I will have to kill him.
It's not gonna work. And if this ritual doesn't kill him, I'll have to.
Uh-huh.
What?
You can just see the sadness and despair in her eyes as she says it. Oh wait, no, she seems kind of ready to kill him any moment now. She even corners Jade and has a bizarre conversation about Jade's sad childhood. It turns out that Jade suffers from some sort of disorder where instead of having normal memories, her entire childhood was wiped out and the only thing she can recall is growing up in the stables, and that's it.
All I remember about being a kid is mucking stables and mending bridles and bits. And I was grateful.
Jade already had a little lonely cry while taking in the view from the castle, but she was interrupted by Borman, who was hallucinating about a vault that probably does not exist. Anyway, she cried on his shoulder about how terrible everything is.
Alright, that's... Everyone deserves one good cry per quest.
So by the time Kit came, Jade was not in a mood to have an intimate gossip session in a corridor.
Tell us something only the real Borman would know.
Okay, you two have totally got the hearts for each other.
Jade was all out of emotions. Part of it is probably due to this strange feature of this cursed castle where our heroes are plagued with visions and flashes of the past. Jade in particular is seeing her dead mother, which I guess is kind of like everybody else here. In fact, this castle is cursed and very, very weird. Kate sees vision from the past about her grandmother. Borman keeps seeing a golden vault he cannot enter, and even Elora sees a vision of the past where her mother is being killed.
She is the beacon of light in a time of dread. No!
And yet nobody mentions that to anybody else in the team, because haunted castles are normal and require no warnings to your travel companions.
I just spent the last half an hour barricading the door.
There's definitely something very wrong with this castle.
So it comes as no surprise that Graydon ends up being possessed by a strange evil entity in a manner that is so obvious that only somebody as idiotic as Elora could not see it straight away.
What happened? Where's Willow?
Gone. We're in big trouble. The ritual, it worked, sorta. He was able to draw the poison out of me, but somehow it got into him, and now he's the lich and I'm, well... You get my point.
And it is this very blind faith and willingness to abandon people to die and torture combined. This is what makes her the savior of this universe.
I'll go. It's not safe for you.
No, Willow saved my life. It's my turn to save his.
So anyway, Graydon is possessed by somebody and he leads Elora to the high tower where, surprise surprise, all of our characters end up showing up towards the end of the episode, because the one place that they were meant to avoid at all costs is this very tower, so of course they flock to it.
What did I say was the number one most important safety rule?
No matter what, stay out of the high tower.
Graydon is miraculously saved by Elora's superpowers, and sadly he does not die, which means we will have to witness his terrible dialogue scenes in the next episode as well. Yes, everybody lives, evil is conquered, and conveniently there is a little stone monster that attacks Willow before he can prevent Elora from saving Graydon. Why? We don't know. This TV series should serve as a manual in how never to produce a TV show, because all they end up doing is making something that nobody can watch without their brains exploding. Characters seem to forget who they are, why they are where they are, and the dialogues are written purely to fill the silence and almost never to move the plot forward. And yet, by now, I cannot stop watching it. How did this happen? Who is behind this show, and who are the critics who rate this TV series at 85%?